So I'm not going to say the magic words that you hate so much, but the intention is...
Essentially,
yes.
We're back.
Hey, you said it. Essentially, we are back. We will be back next week. This will come in.
Here's a question for you. Is marriage overrated?
Why aren't people getting married anymore?
A new Pew Research poll found that 2 in 5 young adults think marriage is an outdated tradition.
Marriage rates are at their lowest right now.
Is marriage really even worth it?
More than half of marriages end in divorce.
If you get married, you have to be stuck with this person for the rest of your life, right? That's why you get married. So that's why it's declining. Why would you get married if you want to have just one partner when you can have multiple?
Marriage is stupid.
Welcome to the Married AF podcast, the self-proclaimed greatest marriage relationship podcast in the world. We're your hosts, Matthew and Monica Powers.
Don't say it.
Not because last few months have been crazy. We obviously have not been here. It's been a while, Stained style. So we've not recorded anything in
a month?
Nearly 2 months.
Almost
2 months. Our last episode was the very beginning of February. And
it's the end of March.
Don't you know that the second week of February is when things really get moving in our lives, which is typically okay. But we added some extra wrinkles the last month and a half, almost 2 months, that has caused us to not record anything because this has not been the highest level of priorities in our lives.
Yes and no.
It is, but we have a business and family and stuff and church and sports have happened. And all of the other million things. It's baseball season. It's softball season. And marriage is very much a high priority. And we'll talk about that here in a moment as to why this has kind of taken a backseat. So I'm not going to say the magic words that you hate so much. But the intention is...
Essentially,
yes.
We're back.
Hey, you said it. Essentially, we are back. We will be back next week. This will come out on April 1st. This is not an April Fool's joke. I promise. We are coming back. So April 8th, we'll get back to a weekly regular program as we've kind of been able to.
Weekly regular program.
What's wrong with that?
We're a program.
We can be a program.
Is that
show
still a thing?
All of it is. Yeah, absolutely it is.
Okay.
I don't see why not. But some of the reasons as to why we haven't been here.
I'm watching my program. Leave me alone.
You sound like an 80-year-old woman. Leave me alone. I'm watching my programs.
That's why I said program.
I'm watching my stories. Bring me my Metamucil. Let me watch my stories. It's dinner time. It's 4:00 already. That's all I can think about.
Yes.
So, but the reason why we haven't been here. Okay, baseball, softball season has started.
Yes.
Your softball season, it's here. You're like right in the center of all of it.
Yes. Let's for those that are new to us, I don't play softball anymore. I coach the softball team.
Correct. You coach high school softball.
High school softball.
Here in Alabama, and spring sports, baseball, softball are very popular sports.
But they're our favorite sports.
They're our favorite sports, but a lot gets into it. So softball season started that second week of February. And since then, you've been running 90-0.
At least 3 games a week.
3 games a week, tournament on the weekends.
Weekends that haven't been postponed or canceled due to weather.
Exactly. It's been wild and crazy. And our son Cash kicked off baseball season. He's playing in a new league, which he is having.
Killing it.
He is having more fun playing baseball. I mean, he's playing well, which is great, and we love that. But he is having more fun playing now than he has in years. You can see the smile on his face, how he interacts with his teammates, the other teams. I mean, he's chalking it up and just having
He enjoys going to play.
He enjoys playing the game.
Where it was becoming a chore where we currently live. Currently. But so that's taken up a lot of our time. Mm-hmm. Speaking of currently living, this was probably the biggest thing that happened over the last 2 months, where it was like, okay, well, here we go. And a lot of our extra time, extra intention, where normally we would be recording and doing the podcast and recording videos, just kind of had to take a back seat because we felt like, hey, this is where we are supposed to go. So in the last 2 months, we have been prepping our house to sell. A lot. Love prepping.
We really,
Fingers bleeding, prepping.
we really prepped a whole lot in a very short amount of time. So we're looking at a house in a particular area where we've always wanted to be, in a neighborhood that we looked at our very first home ever in this neighborhood 16, 17 years ago. I think
Maybe even before we got married.
maybe even before that. And it's like, this is where we want to be. And
We loved
obviously
the neighborhood.
we haven't been there, but the opportunity came up. Some of the closest people in our lives live in this neighborhood, and all those families are
They
like,
didn't live there then.
no, but now they do.
They do, and now it's
Y'all, come on.
well, we
come
want to
on.
be there even
Come on.
more.
Yes, it makes us want to be there more. So we found a house in the neighborhood we really, really liked. It didn't turn out to be what we wanted it to. We found another house that we were going to settle for. And it was like, well, this is where we want to be in the location near the people we want to be.
Doesn't
we'll
matter.
settle
We're
for this.
settling for this.
So we went in and put an offer on this house that had been on the market for months. We're like, okay, it'll be
We'll
fine.
make it work.
It's basically our house now, which we're very content with,
Absolutely.
very happy with. And that afternoon, we put the offer in. They come back to us and say, oh, we're pulling the house off the market. We're moving back into the house. After being on the market for months,
It was almost a year.
maybe it was almost a year. Being on the market for
No
so long.
offers, period.
No offers,
For the
no
first
nothing.
one.
It's like, okay, well, maybe this is the one the Lord has set for us. And we prayed over that, and we submitted the offer, came back, and it looked like the
Less
Lord
than
just
24 hours.
slammed the door shut. Was like, yeah, no, this isn't the one for you. So that night, a new listing comes up.
We had, just our hearts ripped from our chest.
Yeah, so a brand new listing
Because there
comes
was
up.
no other homes for sale in the neighborhood.
Nope.
at
So
all.
a new listing comes up that night, and it checks basically every box on the list, especially for you. How it's painted, how it's designed, how it's laid out, the bright size, everything about it. It's like, okay, well, maybe this is the one. So we go look at it the very next day. And
We were the first
people to go look at
first
it.
appointment or viewing that they had.
First viewing they had on I think it was on a Friday, and I was like, wow, this checks all the boxes.
I
pretty
didn't
much.
even want to go in because we had been so heartbroken and let down. I didn't want to go in to see if it was that perfect because I didn't want my heart to be broken again.
No. So we went in, we looked at it. It was like, this is checking all the boxes. The yard was not perfect,
All of our friends even came with us.
but the house itself was like, this is the
It's
one.
great.
And I know you walked around the house praying over the
I
house.
was praying over it before I walked in. And I, was like,
I
"Oh, my
walked throughout
goodness."
every room and was just like,
And
Lord,
I
let
didn't know
this be
you were
you.
doing that, and you didn't know I was.
Let this be you. Make it clear that this is you. Let it be easy. Let it be smooth. Let this be you. So we go in, we make the offer. We come back and forth just a little bit for a couple of days. And I think it was basically like that Monday, our offer is done. It's accepted. We're ready to go.
The next day, our house is coming soon.
Pending an inspection. So our house is coming soon.
It was going to go live that Friday.
And was going to go live. And so that was the time. And we ultimately had 2 weeks during coming soon to just done. Not like anything major had to be done. The house is in really good shape, but some touch up paint, some fixing, this
We've
little
been here 6 years.
ding in the wall
Yeah.
here, just kind of touching things up.
Definitely lived in the house.
Yeah, definitely lived in. And so we were doing that. And that was during the day you were doing that. Then you'd go do softball. I'd come home from work. You'd come home from softball. And we are
But we were also, Cash had surgery.
That's right. Cash had surgery. We are painting. We are doing all the things till 11 o'clock, midnight, every single night to try and get this place ready to go. And we have the home inspection on the house that we put an offer on.
Wednesday.
It was like the next week.
Wednesday, yes, our house was going live on the market that Friday. The inspection was the Wednesday of that same week.
Yeah, well, we had pushed it all a week because the inspector was, and he's a phenomenal. He did this house. He was great for us. So we go through the inspection, and he's like, "Man, the house is perfect." He said, "Everything about the house is perfect,"
Which was great.
He said,
Super excited about.
Here is the problem. He said, "There's some drainage stuff. There's retaining walls." He said, "They weren't done properly." He said, "Now they can be fixed. That's not a problem. They can easily be fixed. No big deal." But it's got to be fixed. And he basically says, "Hey, I'm not going to," he said, "I would not recommend moving until it's fixed or they come down on the offer tremendously to be able to move into this house." So we go back to the sellers with the inspection, copy of the inspection, the pictures and everything. And there are a couple little small minor things which you're going to find on every home inspection. No big deal. They go, yeah, we'll fix all this stuff.
But not the walls.
We don't want to touch the walls. And not only that, but they drag their feet for 5-6 days with no community. Yeah, we'll have it back to you on this day. Nothing happens. Yeah, we'll have it back to you by lunch. Nothing happens. We'll have it back to you by the end of the night. Nothing happens.
But they also kept saying, why is your house not active on the market? Why is your house not active on the market?
That's their only concern. We're like, well, we're not going live until we know this is done and the contract is finished. So they drug their feet. And ultimately, they would not get the walls fixed. They would not come off the price. And we had to, and it was a tough decision. I was like, all right, well, I mean, this was the one.
It's going to be our forever home.
You know,
But when somebody says, if this is not done the proper way, this house will be off the hill in 10 to 15 years.
Yep.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, that was a huge red flag. And I mean, we were very
$100,000 could possibly be the cost of fixing this.
And that was a high end. You know, realistically, we're probably thinking $50,000 to $60,000 to fix that.
But still, that's a massive chunk of change to come out of pocket.
Yeah, and that's something we weren't willing to do.
We don't have that.
We were very conflicted about it. Not sure, you know, oh, well, this was the one. You know, well, God, we thought this was the one. And of course, we're like, well, what do we do? We're talking about it. We're praying about it. You know, talk to one of our pastors about it. And he made it plain as day and clear and simple. He said, what was the prayer from the beginning? He said, wasn't it to make it smooth and easy? I said, yeah. He said, well,
is this smooth and easy?
Has it been smooth and easy? I said,
once.
No. He said, then you know this wasn't from the Lord. He said, if you prayed that and you faithfully prayed that prayer, he's going to make it abundantly clear, smooth and easy. He said, this has not been smooth. It has not been easy. He said, so this is not from him. He said, now you can still go through with it. He will still bless it. He said, but one other thing you're doing is you are keeping yourself from the blessing he has down the road. He said, are you willing to do that? And that pretty much made it clear, like, okay, we're going to wash our hands of it, or we're going to go through that.
No problemo.
So we did all the work. We went through all the steps. We got our house prepared, ready to sell. And man, it was stressful and heartbreaking, and it was very difficult. A whole lot of emotion that goes along with that. And so that's been a big chunk of our time. We've looked at several other houses since, and just none of them screamed, hey, this is supposed to be for you. So we're still currently in the middle of all of that. We don't know what will happen. You know, we may be where we are now for a little longer. Hopefully not much longer. We'll just have to see what the Lord does. So that was a whole lot of other stuff that went on over the last 2 months. Spring break just happened.
Before that, we had very, very scary weather.
Well, actually, yeah, 2 weeks ago, we were, all right, hey, let's record some stuff. Let's get prepared, record some episodes. We need to get back out there. And sure enough,
we were actually going to do episodes before we went on spring break, because you said, oh, I'll have all the spring break time to do all this, blah, blah, whatever you do with them. And why are you laughing?
Whatever you do with them.
I don't know what you do with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You just said, hey, they're up there. Okay.
Easy enough.
Right. But the day that we typically do these on Sundays. The day that we were planning to do those episodes. Yeah.
We're going to do them on a Saturday because we're going to be here.
Yeah.
Let's do them. And
it got real scary here.
Got really scary. We were in a high, severe weather,
high risk
tornado, high risk. And sure enough, we had a tornado come through, 2 of them, but one serious one come through where we currently live now, about 2.5 miles south of us. Just missed up, but did it, you know, near the intermediate school where our daughter goes to school, near the high school, where you are a lot of the time, destroyed a lot of property through there. So that was another very scary day where we're glued to the TV. We're watching James Spann. For anyone who doesn't know who James Spann is, he is a legend in the state of Alabama. He is the meteorologist legend. He knows everything there is to know about this state and weather and patterns. He is the man. And
there is zero better.
None better than him. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He is the absolute
SPANN. We love
We love,
Span's the man.
love James Spann.
In Alabama, it goes God, Nick Saban, James Spann. Those are your top three.
And they're all very, very
and
close.
they're pretty much all tied for first.
They're all very close to each other. You're totally right. So yeah, that's Saturday. We were going to record, but no, we're in where we are now.
Down in the basement.
We're in the basement, which is where we record everything, and we have the TV going. We had a mattress in the floor where our feet are right now, where our daughter was laying because it was going to come through that evening and that night.
It was almost an all-day event.
So we were planning to spend the night here. So obviously we didn't.
It was over around 11 p.m. ish.
We didn't record that night because
we didn't, and we didn't get to record the next day because the softball team wanted to help. There was so much damage and stuff that was done, and our girls were the first to. What can we do? What do people need?
Which was amazing to watch.
And it hit a trailer park that was really close to where the intermediate school is. Mm-hmm. The same tornado hit the intermediate school, but it's just demolished. I mean, we were there the next morning. I mean, you had already gone to church, and me and the kids were going to say, okay, well, we stayed up really late. We're just going to go to the 11:30, and I was up. You had already gotten to church.
Yeah, you had texted me.
I said, I am really torn right now. Not like Natalie and Brulia torn, but Creed torn.
Creed torn. No,
and
you texted me.
I need to know if I have this strong urge. I'm not serving at church today, but I need to serve. And where I'm supposed to serve is, I feel like, is this cleanup.
Yeah, well, you texted me during the 9 a.m. and were like, I'm torn whether to come to church or to go help with the cleanup. And it was a pretty easy decision. You can either go to church or you can go be the church. And that's exactly what you did.
The kids and I went to be the church that day.
You did. And you helped.
I just was so proud of our children, and for them to be able to see people just come together that didn't know each other, didn't know the people that this happened to, were just pitching in, helping, and they just jumped right in. No questions asked. If they were told to do something, they did it.
And that's the way it is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
we didn't get to record that day because for tornado
cleanup, and then last week spring break. We were gone all week for spring break to Orlando and back. It was like, okay, we have to record because everyone who listens and watches, you have been faithfully listening. The prayer has always been for the Lord to take this to the ears that need to hear it, even when we're kind of idle and not necessarily doing anything. People are still listening in record numbers, more downloads than we could ever even imagine. So we're extremely thankful for that. But it's time for us to get back on the horse and continue to be able to do this. I mean, just give last week. What was last week's downloads?
I'm trying to get the. Okay, it's pulling up.
It was more than we could really imagine.
Well, for every week it was maybe a couple weeks after we hadn't done anything, and the most off the chart downloads came through. It was over 7,000.
Yeah, for that week.
And I said, okay, God, I'm listening. We will get back to this podcast. I promise.
But each week it was like 7,000, 4,000, 3,000, 5,000. I think it was like 5,000 again last week.
Holy cow.
And it continues to be more and more and more. So needless to say, we're doing it yet again. And right now, last 7 days, 7,236. So we thank you guys for continuing to listen, continuing to be there and all that. And the last thing that's kind of really kept us from all this, because we're going to keep this short and get back to what you're really used to.
These people don't care nothing about
this next week. No, they don't. But we're giving it a fresh update.
I've always been told, share your personal stories. I don't want to tell people about me.
Oh, no, you don't. But the last thing that's really taken most of our attention has been Married AF, not the podcast, not YouTube, not social media, but our small group.
This small group has been fun.
The small group has been amazing that we do through our church, Cultivate Church. We had talked about it.
Massive turnout.
And just decided, it's while this is great and it's a great platform and we're thankful for it, the personal time, getting to know each other, the one-on-one time with people and with couples and to see couples interact has been awesome and has been amazing. Just pump the brakes on that. It's been incredible to be able to see. So we've been all in on the small group and making sure we're prepared for that and ready for that, and to be able to really enrich the lives of couples so they can get to know themselves better, get to know each other better, get to know other couples better, and live the marriage out the way that God intended it from the very beginning. And we've seen amazing turnout. We've seen amazing things happen from that. We're seeing relationships kind of be rebuilt, being restored. We're seeing relationships develop between the couples for friendships and doing life together, which is just amazing to watch and amazing to see. So that's where we've been. You obviously saw something, so we'll wrap up with that.
I am just so floored right now. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the top 10.
Go quickly.
I'll go from 1 to 10. Just killing it. Los Angeles.
Okay.
San Jose.
Okay.
New York City. Chicago, Illinois. Miami. Dallas, Texas. Seattle, Washington, Phoenix, Arizona, Amsterdam.
Okay.
Hey, Holland.
That's wild.
What? That's what blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's usually the U.S. that's blowing out everybody else in downloads, but Amsterdam is number 9 in the top 10.
And who's 10?
Rounding it out in the top 10 is Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. Well, look at that.
So cool.
Thank you, everybody, watching, listening. Listen, you said it. I didn't say it first. You said it. We are back. We'll be back April 8th. With
8th?
April 8th with new episodes. This will come out April 1st.
Oh, this is the first thing.
Brand new episodes April 8th. It hasn't been for a lack of preparation. There's several things I've got down that we just haven't had the time to get to. And we're sorry for that, but we'll be back very, very, very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. If you guys have any, I guess, ideas on what we possibly need to talk about.
I'll say ideas, questions,
We
thoughts.
love it. Go to the website.
Go to
What
the
is
website. The website's themarriedafpodcast.com. You can submit questions on there. There's a form for you to be able to do that.
You can email us.
You can check out social media, Instagram, Facebook, at the Married.
Subscribe to the YouTube thing.
At the Married AF Podcast. Go to YouTube, subscribe there also. Rate and review this on your podcast platform, however you listen to it. Could do the same thing there just to get in touch with us.
We love hearing from everybody.
We'd love to hear from you. What's on your mind? What's going on? And hey, we're happy to have a conversation. We're not perfect. We're not absolute experts in everything, but we can at least get a conversation going that's going to help things down the road. So
Absolutely.
We'll be back soon.
All right.
All right. Let's go.
Press
Lord,
out.
we love you. God, we are thankful for what you're doing. We're thankful for this platform. We're thankful for time to be able to do what you have called us to do. And we just want to honor you in everything that we do. Our hope is that we can raise topics and conversations for people to know who you are and what you have in store from them. And God, just so people can get closer to you. At the end of the day, getting closer to their spouse, having a healthy marriage is the way you created it, and it brings them closer to you. And that's the only thing that we want. And we thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Play ball.